Prior to calling the board meeting to order, if I could have everybody's attention, I am required per board policy, if we have anyone here to speak to the board, I'm required to notify you of that and tell you who they are and what they're going to speak to. They're going to speak to non-agenda item. And for a non-agenda item, we have 3 minutes set aside. And since it is non-agenda, it's not in compliance with the Open Meeting Act. So as a result, the board will not be making any comments to the comments that are made during that period of time. Those signed up to speak are Stephanie Baltzel, Laura Johnson, and Judy Wolf, and we will call you in the order that I called your name. And at that point in time, we'll ask you to come up one by one, starting with Stephanie at that time. Call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Dr. Williamson? Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item is a moment of silence to be led by our board vice president, Mr. Steve Allen.
Thank you. As we begin this meeting, let us pause for a 60-second moment of silence to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in any other silent activity. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Andrew Singletary. He's a Broken Arrow Public School student and Eagle Scout.
All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to a republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Hello, Andrew. How are you?
Doing great.
Hey, I hear that you're doing something at Vandiver. Can you tell me a little bit about that project at Vandiver?
Well, my project is that I'm going to make a pathway for those kids in handicaps that are unable to have access to the garden. And that in case one of them want to make their own garden in the future, they must have experience first by making their own garden within the school first.
That's great. I tell you, we've actually done some remodeling around it, but we never went outside. So you're going to help us put in a ADA ramp so that students can get out there and actually do some of the gardening and all of those things.
Exactly.
So I appreciate that. Is that part of your Eagle Scout project?
Yes.
Okay, so when are you supposed to finish up?
Before the school begins.
Wow. You know, you're in a pretty elite group. There's not less than, what, 1 or 2% even have Eagle Scouts in the entire world. So you're pretty special person to be able to do that.
I know, I am.
So how long you been in the Scouts?
Ever since one was in first grade.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. Can we take a picture with you?
Sure.
All right. We're going to stand up here and we'll take a picture. Great job. Great job.
He's almost as tall as you, Dr. McCartney. Okay.
All right, that's fantastic. All right.
Great job.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the formal adoption of the agenda. I have not had any of the items brought to my attention at this point, so I would certainly entertain a motion.
Recommend approval.
Second?
We have a motion and second to formally adopt the agenda. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Ms. Kelly.
Yes. The next item on the agenda is a donation. Ms. Michelle Bergwall.
Good evening, President Kelly, Dr. Mendenhall, members of the board. Well, you just met Andrew and part of his troop, and we would like to bring before you tonight the donation that Andrew would like to make as part of his Eagle Scout project. And I want to say that this is a very special project. He's been working on this for a while, and it's going to earn him his Eagle Scout. And we have partnered him with Crossland Construction. I think Greg with Crossland is here as well. And they're going to work with Andrew's troop to help them form and pour the concrete for the ADA accessibility of that courtyard. And we're excited about it because it's going to clean that courtyard up, do something with it, and give Vandiver students a chance to have their gardening to be able to garden there at Vandiver. So I want to recognize him again, and Ms. Bullington is back there, the teacher that he's been working with at Vandiver, if she can wave, and so very important group there, and they're going to be working really hard towards the end of this week trying to get those ramps in. So with that, I'd like to ask for your approval of their donation.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Just want to thank Andrew and Crossland Construction. So recommend approval.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the donation of improvements to the interior courtyard at Vandiver Elementary. There is no cost to the district. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Ms. Kelly.
Yes, thank you. The next item are the minutes of the June 27th, 2016 regular meeting minutes. These were brought back because there was actually a correction made on those, so we have those up for your action tonight.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the June 27th, 2016 corrected regular meeting minutes. So please call the roll.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Ms. Kelly.
Yes. The next item are the June 11th, 2016 regular meeting minutes. I would entertain any comments or questions.
Recommend approval.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the July 11th, 2016 regular meeting minutes. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Ms. Kelly.
Yes. The next item are the June 20th, 2016 special board meeting minutes, and I certainly would entertain any comments or questions at this time.
Make a motion to approve? Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the June 20th, 2016 special board meeting minutes. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors,
Yes.
Mr. Allen,
Abstain.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Ms. Kelly.
Yes. The next item under employment, Dr. Mendenhall.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, I want to bring to you tonight a couple of employments of administrators in the district. Number 9 is to discussion, motion, and vote to approve or disapprove the employment of an assistant principal at the Broken Arrow Freshman Academy. We recently had one of our assistant principals actually accept a position as an administrator, I think over curriculum at Skiatook Public Schools. In her absence, we had to begin looking for an assistant principal. And tonight, I am happy to announce that we are making a recommendation to hire Miss Crystal Barber. Miss Barber has been in the Oklahoma City Public School system, has been an assistant principal there. Before that, she was a teacher, has worked at Oklahoma State University as an adjunct professor, and really comes highly recommended. So tonight I'd like to make a recommendation that we hire Ms. Crystal Barber as our assistant principal at the Freshman Academy.
Okay, are there any questions or comments?
Recommend approval.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the offer of employment to Crystal Barber to serve as assistant principal of the Broken Arrow Freshman Academy, with such employment subject to a mutually acceptable and fully executed written contract of employment. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next.
Next item is number 10.
Dr. Mendenhall, is she here?
She is here. I'm so sorry. I didn't see you back there. Crystal, go ahead and stand up and let's introduce you.
Thought you were gonna get away with it.
Ms. Barber was able to come to our meetings, our administrators retreat, and that first meeting is always really kind of tough on those brand new people to the district. So they actually get a picture of me, and that was supposed to be a joke. And it's supposed to, stay with them at all times, but a lot of them lose that picture pretty quickly. So.
She is a poke, so she's
Yes,
got better
yes,
taste
she
than
does. She does like the Cowboys, I believe. So, let me kind of go into item number 10. Item number 10 is to motion and vote on motion to approve or disapprove the offer of employment to an executive director of human resources. To kind of tell you a little bit about the position and what we're doing is, as you well know, Mr. Ed Fager, that has been with us, I believe, 5 years. Mr. Fager is going to retire after winter break. And in that absence, we had to really begin the process of looking for someone to fill those shoes, which are pretty big shoes to fill, to be honest. And so we put out a pretty wide net of people. We actually developed a process, went through a process of interviewing. We had about 30 people that actually applied. We brought in 6, and those 6 people were interviewed by an interview committee. The interview committee at that point basically was made up of Mr. Thompson, Mr. Perry, I believe a couple of people out. Adrian Stout was out of HR. Lindsay, I can't think of Lindsay's last name. I apologize. And then I believe we had, I think we had a principal, Margaret Coates, that's right, on that committee. So at the end of the day, what we wanted to do was make sure that we were vetting and doing a good job of really finding the right fit and the right person for this position. We were very happy to say that we had a lot of interest, but also a lot of people that were very, very qualified for the position. So at the end of the day, they recommended a couple of individuals to me. I interviewed both of them, and basically am recommending Miss Lori Tiger to you tonight. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Miss Tiger has been in education for quite some time. She is at Tulsa Community College right now in the continuing education and workforce development area. She is a director doing that. But before that, she was actually at the Tulsa Tech campus for a year. And then before that was 5 years as an assistant superintendent at Sand Springs. In that role at Sand Springs, she was actually over HR and did some other duties and responsibilities. Before that, she was at Sperry as a curriculum director, and then really basically cut her teeth in Owasso Public Schools. She was really there for quite some time as a teacher, and then moved into administration, became a principal there. So she, of course, has her bachelor's degree and master's degree from Southern, I guess her master's degree is from Southern Nazarene. And so what I would tell you is that after really having lots of conversation about the fit and where we're at in our organization, we felt very strongly that she was the right fit for our organization. So tonight, I want you to know also, moving forward, this will be an executive director position. So this position will, in the org chart, will report up through Mr. Thompson as the CFO. And but if you recall, Mr. Fager has been a cabinet member in the past. So there may be at some point, depending on growth and development of the organization and of Ms. Tiger, that we move her into that. Now, that would come back to you as an action item if that were to occur, but I wanted you to know that my intention is that long term, that could potentially be a person that we would place on our cabinet to work with more strategy in the school district. So wanted you to know that. Feel very good about the cross training that will occur. Mr. Fager will be here for the next 4 months, and then he'll be able to cross train Ms. Tiger, and feel very good about that opportunity there. You know, a lot of people have asked me about you know, the absence of Mr. Fager. I want to congratulate him before you even vote that he's done a great job for us. I'm going to tell you that I can't tell you enough how much I will personally miss him, and feel like that he has made our organization a lot better. And so I feel very good about you know, hiring Ms. Tiger, but I also know that that's going to be I'm not asking really her to be him, but again, she's going to have big shoes to fill because he's done a lot for us. And we've taken all of that into consideration, and we feel good about the recommendation tonight. So with that, I will answer any questions or anything that you may have for me tonight.
If there is no discussion or there are no questions, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the offer of employment to Lori Tiger to serve as Executive Director of Human Resources with such employment subject to a mutually acceptable and fully executed written contract of employment. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
And I know that you're probably looking for Ms. Tiger. She's actually en route to Hawaii with her husband. And so she's not here at this moment. She will be, I believe it was September the 6th. Is that correct, Mr. Thompson? I think that was when we were going to have her actually do reporting. Just know that TCC has been notified as well. And there's a lot of transition that's got to happen because of her. She runs an entire department. And so we're giving her a little bit more time. It's usually a 2-week deal, but we're looking at about 4 weeks before she's on site and helping us. So just wanted you to know that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mendenhall. The next item are the comments from the public. As I mentioned, we do have 3 individuals signed up to speak. So at this time, I will call to the microphone up here Stephanie Balsall, and you'll have 3 minutes, and Mr. Allen will be doing the timing, and about with 30 seconds left, if you're still up there speaking, we certainly want to make sure you're comfortable, but if they're at about 30 seconds, we'll let you know so that you know to kind of wind it down at that point.
Good evening, President Kelly and board members. My name is Stephanie Balzell. I am the parent and advocate for my daughter, Alexandria Balzell. My daughter, Alexandria, will be in 4th grade this year in Mrs. Hanson's special education class at Leisure Park Elementary. It was brought to my attention that there will be only one paraprofessional in this class for the 2016-17 school year. A solution has been proposed that all 3 intellectually disabled classes will share 5 paraprofessionals. Before I go into details about this, let me tell you a little about my daughter, Alex. She is a smart, funny, spunky, petite 10-year-old girl. She also has Down syndrome. This does not hinder my expectations for her. She's continuing to thrive at Leisure Park. She loves school, she loves her teachers, paras, and friends. She is reading, she can tell time, she can count by 5s. She loves going to specials with her typical peers, which is oh so important for our ever-growing social and communication skills. Now back to the subject at hand. I am sorry, but I do not agree with the paraprofessional solution. Dividing 5 pairs between the 3 classrooms is going to create mass chaos between these classrooms. The pair not only provides support for the teacher, but also provides a sense of support, security, consistency, and routine for our children. Support in helping our children learn by pulling the disruptive student aside while the teacher is teaching the lesson. Support in being extra eyes and ears for problems that may arise in class. Support by helping our children communicate. Being extra ears and eyes while they're doing their own schoolwork. Allowing the class to break out into a small 4-to-1 ratio learning group. Security while they're passing in the halls, while they're going to their different activities. Security in the classroom while they're having a rough moment in their day. Security in knowing that their classroom is safe. Consistency by knowing each child and their unique abilities. Knowing if any of the children have any triggers that may cause an emotional outburst and being able to prohibit these from happening. Routine by keeping the class on schedule. Consistency and routine are a key to success for a lot of children. Our children in the intellectually disabled class are no different. In fact, they thrive on it. Why take that away? Causing the pairs to rotate
30 seconds.
will not allow them to get to know each individual student in their class. They won't know each child's strengths and weaknesses or even any medical issues a specific child may have. I have expectations for my child. She can learn. I want her to succeed in school, and you know what? I know she can. We need to have a second pair in Mrs. Hanson's classroom for our IEP goals to be met. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Next, Ms. Laura Johnson.
President Kelly and board members, my name is Laura Johnson, and I was a speech pathologist in the Broken Arrow public school system for 27 years. I retired in 2006 when my grandson, Joseph Long, was born. Joseph will be a 4th grader in Mrs. Hanson's intellectually disabled class at Leisure Park. I am here requesting that Mrs. Hanson retain 2 full-time paraprofessionals for her intellectually disabled classroom of 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders at Leisure Park Elementary. I was discouraged to hear that Mrs. Hanson was losing a full-time paraprofessional for the 2016-2017 school year. I am concerned that having only 1 full-time paraprofessional instead of 2 will hamper Joseph's progress. With a team of Mrs. Hanson and 2 full-time paraprofessionals, Joseph made some remarkable gains in less than 3 months. He was placed in Mrs. Hanson's class in February of 2016. At that time, he was not reading. In fact, he struggled with recognizing the alphabet. By May of 2016, he was reading short sentences. Prior to being in Mrs. Hanson's class, his handwriting was painfully slow and difficult to read. By May of 2016, he was copying sentences in a legible and timely manner. I realize this is not unusual for most 9-and-a-half-year-olds, but this was nothing short of a miracle for Joseph. When an instructor is allowed to concentrate on teaching, extraordinary accomplishments can occur. Paraprofessionals in Broken Arrow have been vital to Joseph's success since his enrollment in pre-kindergarten 5 years ago. He is a bubbly, outgoing, almost 10-year-old. He asks questions nonstop. While the classroom teacher does not always have time to indulge his curious nature, paraprofessionals have made time during Joseph's gastrostomy tube feedings or other interactions. He has learned critical information during these chats. On a more serious note, paraprofessionals are usually the first to notice that Joseph is experiencing heat exhaustion, choking, or becoming faint. Serious consequences have been avoided due to the close observation of a paraprofessional. These factors support the premise that 2 full-time
30
paraprofessionals, thank you, oh, I'm sorry,
No.
are not a luxury but a necessity. They are the first line of defense in keeping our medically compromised students safe. It will be a challenge for one full-time paraprofessional and one teacher to monitor the students adequately. Students in Mrs. Hansen's class do not leave the room without the assistance of a paraprofessional. Accompanying different students to specials, therapies, other classrooms, etc., will leave Mrs. Hansen in the classroom with inadequate coverage. I think this leaves the students as well as Mrs. Hansen at a disadvantage.
Time. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next spokesperson would be Judy Wolf.
Good evening. My name is Judy Wolf, and I too am a parent of a student in Miss Hansen's 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade class at Leisure Park. Emma is a sassy, caring, and a people person. She will be a 4th grader this year. I am here to express my concern for the news I've received regarding the reduction of a paraprofessional from Miss Hansen's classroom at Leisure Park. I am deeply troubled by this news. Cutting a full-time paraprofessional and reducing Mrs. Hansen's support staff by 50% will cause many interruptions to the classroom dynamics as we know it. Our classroom support staff makes it possible for Ms. Hansen to fulfill her role mostly as instructor, while her paraprofessionals assist with teaching and seeing to the other day-to-day challenges that each student brings to the table. Expecting Ms. Hansen to utilize one full-time paraprofessional successfully is like asking each of you to draft an email without a monitor. Unlike a typical classroom setting, each child is an exception in their level of needs intellectually and physically. Together, this team has made a substantial difference in Emma's academic and social skills last year, and I want to see this growth continue through the year 2016 and 17. Emma has met many milestones this past school year with Ms. Hansen, Ms. Luce, and Ms. Moyes. Emma shows remarkable improvement following directions, writes 20 out of 26 letters, both upper and lowercase, reads medium-length sentences, participates in the STAR and early literacy program, and by the end of the year, her classification changed from an early emergent reader to a late emergent reader. She counts by 5, counts to 30, recognizes pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. She shows respect to her teachers, adults, and classmates. I've worked too long and hard getting Emma where she is today for this to be taken away. I was chosen by one greater than myself for Emma to make her everything she can be, a commission unlike anything blessed to me before or since, and I don't intend to fail her. I promise to make her a viable and successful citizen in this community, your community, and I need your help to fix this blunder. Please reconsider your decision to cut a full-time paraprofessional from our classroom and provide all the tools Ms. Hansen needs to make Emma all that she can be, her 100%. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to convey my concerns and requests.
Thank you. I want to thank each of you for taking your time to come here this evening to advocate for your children. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is the general consent agenda items 12 through 57. None of the consent agenda items have been brought forward or need to be set aside.
Recommend approval.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the general consent agenda items 12 through 57. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors? Yes. Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Miss Kelly?
Yes. The next item under Board and Superintendent Board of Education Communications, Dr. Mendenhall.
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to talk a little bit about our board showcase. If you recall, we do a board showcase. We have done, I believe, a couple a year. Last year we went to doing just one, and we chose to do it in the fall. So what I think is, what I'd like to do tonight is basically just kind of talk about a few dates that may be good for your calendars. You know, it's one of those things that you never know how things are going to grow and how they're going to evolve, but this has become quite a, you talk about a board showcase, it's just not for the board, it's for the community. I think last year we had an entire bus full of community members that chose to come and witness our programs and things at our schools. So it's always an exciting time for us to really sit down and talk about our programs, but also for you to see it firsthand and actually see the students inside the classroom and see them having this progress. So wanted to kind of give you an opportunity to maybe give us some dates that we could probably schedule that around and see if we can do that.
And we started, actually, we had a thought potentially that October 14th or November the 11th may be dates that are acceptable. So if you might look at your calendars to see if those would work, or if you have other suggestions.
Either one of those are fine.
Are those
I'm good.
with either of those?
Either one.
Okay.
Just pick one.
They're both Fridays, so I felt like that might be a better day for us.
So let me ask this, October generally, and it doesn't coincide with I'm assuming the golf tournament. So on October 14th, the weather typically is better. Is that correct?
The tournament is the week before.
Foundation
Okay,
Golf
great.
Tournament. Okay.
Okay. So with that, I'm thinking that potentially the weather may be a little better in October.
I would agree with you on that.
So
October 14th.
I would entertain a
Okay.
motion to the effect of October 14th.
I make a motion to set the board showcase special meeting for Friday, October 14th.
Second.
We have a motion and second to accept Friday, October 14th, 2016 as the board showcase meeting date. The start time for that event will be at 8:30 a.m. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors? Yes. Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Miss Kelly?
Yes.
Just a little bit on that. We don't know where we're going yet, so we will put that schedule out as soon as we can so that you guys know kind of the sites and the programs that we'll visit. So we just haven't made any of those decisions
All
yet.
right. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is Operations Services, Mr. Bob Tolomeo.
Good evening, President Kelly, Dr. Mendenhall, members of the board. I'm here to report the monthly construction update. This is in a little bit different format than you guys are used to. We're going to try to highlight one project a month. So here are all the projects in various stages of construction, whether it's planning or actual construction. So out at the new elementary school, we have started out there. We're done all the piers and we're working on grade beams. So we're really excited about that. Kirkland Activity Complex, you guys probably noticed a lot of work going on out there. We have started the demolition of North Intermediate High School to make way for Kirkland Activity Complex.
Mr. Tolomeo, could you tell me how long the demolition will take out at North?
It'll take about 8 weeks from start to complete. So they're about 2 weeks and a day into it, so another 6 weeks. The orchestra pit lift is just a couple days from being complete as well, so we're excited about that. The high school addition, we are currently still in programming. We'll have a couple more programming meetings once teachers get back into school and back into the rhythm, and we will bid that project out soon. And then here's the project we are going to highlight this month because a lot has happened out there. This picture is kind of a floor plan. We've done a lot of renovations. That whole middle wing right here has all been renovated. The 2-story right here has all been renovated as well, and we've started the FEMA storm structure, which is here, and the cafeteria, which is there. And this is what the FEMA safe room will look like, and there's the cafeteria right there. So kind of new versus old. The picture on the left is the old, and the picture on the right is where we currently are now. It's a little bit cleaner today than it was when I took this picture, so we're really happy about that. And then here's a hallway. It's amazing what some paint, a new ceiling, new flooring will do to a space. we're really excited about this. We've also removed the lockers off one side of the hallway, which will increase some flow of that hallway. And then here's the classroom. Picture on the left is the old, picture on the right is the new. Brand new carpet, brand new millwork, brand new lights, brand new ceiling. We've fire suppressed every single place we've touched. So we've done quite a bit. We've also renovated, complete gut of 8 different restrooms. So it was quite a feat, and we are doing really good out there. So we're really excited.
Well, what's your estimated completion time for that project?
Complete, done,
Yes.
August, next
Next year.
August.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work that you guys are doing. So.
It's a lot of work. Manhattan Construction asked for our messiest renovation job, so we gave them
So they got it.
Sequoia.
I had one quick question that's unrelated to the report that you commented on. I noticed that we were painting a lot of the schools. And I just noticed, only because I live out there, that currently we're painting Childers Middle School, which it looks very nice. I just wanted to make that comment. That
Well,
thus far, it looks very nice.
Mr. Moore and maintenance are handling that project, so they've done a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening. Over the summer, the custodial services departments had quite a few meetings, demonstrations of different equipment. And tonight I'm asking for your approval of a quote submitted by Supply Works to provide 20 Kaivac 1250 all-in-one cleaning machines in the amount of $41,220. These machines are used to clean restrooms and can eventually be used to clean hallways without our staff actually having to reach into urinals and toilets and things like that. It'd be much safer for our staff.
Okay. Is there discussion?
Recommend approval.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the purchase of 20 Calvac 1250 all-in-one cleaning machines from the Supply Works. Total cost to the district is $41,220, and it will be paid from the building fund. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item, Ms. Michelle Bergwall.
Well, this one's almost as fun as the last one I had. I'd like to bring for your approval tonight Stantec Architectural Services for the architectural services on our STEM facility. They're going to immediately help us with some site selection. They're in the back there. Lorenzo and Terry are with us tonight. Lorenzo we worked with on Oneida Ridge. He was one of the main designers on our Oneida Ridge Middle School. So we're excited for the opportunity to work with them again. They've also done some STEM facilities in Texas that we've visited, and some of our instructional folks have visited. And so we're very excited to get this project started.
Okay. Discussion or questions?
Recommend approval.
Second?
We have a motion and second to approve the award to Stantec Architects to provide architectural services related to the design, bidding, and construction of the STEM project, and authorize the Chief Operating Officer to negotiate the terms of the contracts. The total cost of the district will be 6% of the cost of the work and will be paid from the 2015 bond funds. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item.
Our next item is hiring Manhattan Construction as our construction manager for our Freshman Academy project. As you may recall, we have hired Seltzer Schaefer Architects, and we are partway through programming with them, and it is time to bring the construction manager on board. And even though it's probably not quite as messy as Sequoia, it's another good remodel, and Manhattan has put a good staff together for us, and so we're looking forward to working with them on the next one. We've got Jason and Ronnie and Eric in the back, and so we'd like to ask for your approval tonight on Manhattan Construction.
If there are no questions, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the execution of a contract between Broken Arrow Public Schools and Manhattan Construction Company for construction management services related to building, bidding, and construction of the Broken Arrow Freshman Academy renovations project with payment from the 2015 bond funds, and authorize the Chief Operating Officer to negotiate the terms of the contracts. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Thank you.
Really appreciate you all being here too. I do appreciate that.
The next item under instructional services, Mr. Mark Officer.
Good evening, President Kelly, Dr. Mendenhall, members of the board. I'm here to have our first reading of the updated policy 3140. As you know, state passed new legislation regarding graduation requirements specifically related to end of instruction tests. We also needed to tweak the policy in a couple other areas. Needed to add the requirement for physical science as part of the 3 sciences that are required. That one's easy. All of our kids either take physical sciences, 9th graders, or most often chemistry later on in high school. Also added the need for CPR training at the high school level. We plan to do that every year at the freshman academy. Of course, we're not going to be caught up with all those kids. So for the last year and then the next couple years, we'll be doing it with seniors next year before they graduate. On the last year, we did the ACT day, and I say we. I was in a classroom giving the ACT test, so I didn't see any of it happen, but apparently went off without a hitch, and the high school administrative team did a great job with that day. So we'll plan to continue to do that this coming year as well as with this year's juniors. And then the last part of that change was just striking all of the wording that talked about EOIs, and now we can retroactively for students that even graduated with credits this year but not with an EOI requirement met, we can go backwards once your approval is given and give those kids a diploma. So we're excited about that. Feel like we're one step forward there.
Okay, this is a first reading, and so if anyone has any questions, certainly they can get a hold of you to find out. And then also, I assume that we'll have a review by legal counsel before the second reading.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I do have a question. Mr. Officer, there's no physical education requirement now, is there, for?
Not for high school graduation.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? We'll just move forward then.
It's a shame.
The next item, Ms. Carla Dias.
Good evening, Dr. Mendenhall, President Kelly, members of the board. My first item tonight is the discussion, motion, and vote on the motion to approve or disapprove the student handbooks for all sites for this school year. As you probably know, Mr. Crawley and I spent most of the second semester talking with the principals about the handbooks, making any necessary updates or changes. The elementary pretty much focused just on the embedded collaboration schedule and the change in the school day. We had just redone ours 2 years ago, so there wasn't a lot of major changes. And secondary, I touched base with Mr. Crawley today just to make sure the big rocks that they talked about were the changes to graduation requirements due to legislation last session, the Chromebook policies now that the Chromebooks at the secondary from 10th through 12th, and then the start times as well.
Yes. Ms. Dias, I would like to thank everybody that's a part of that process. That is a very extensive process. I know that we have gotten it now to a point where it moves certainly much more smoothly, and plus we have this digitally available, which makes it very user-friendly for our staff and certainly for our parents and students as well.
That's been huge.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I would entertain a motion.
Recommend approval.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the student handbooks for all sites for the 2016-17 school year. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, my second item is a discussion, motion, and vote on motion to approve or disapprove the statutory waiver for Ms. Zilmer to fill a vacant library media specialist at Spring Creek this year. Believe it or not, there's kind of a shortage of people who are applying for media specialist positions, and Mrs. White, who's the principal there, said there were 3 candidates that applied for the position. One she interviewed by a phone call, one never responded to the interview, and the other one was Ms. Zilmer, and she was the best qualified candidate. She will finish her coursework and her certification by December.
Okay. Any discussion? I would entertain a motion.
Recommend approval.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the statutory waiver for Kelly Zilmer to fill the vacant library media specialist position at Spring Creek Elementary for the 2016-17 school year. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes,
Thank
thank you.
you.
The next item under Student Services, Ms. Luann Goodacre.
Good evening. Tonight I'm bringing you a renewal for Hyla Dairy to furnish our dairy products for all sites. This is a third-year renewal. I know it's a little confusing. The original bid was during a time that milk was pretty high. And when Highlands sent their renewal letter this year, they said they were going to take a price increase. This is not on the original bid. This is from our May pricing, which was 18 cents, between 18 and 19 cents. They feel like they're going to have to go up to about 19 cents for August. We usually bid on a de-escalating, escalating scale. That way they furnish us the pricing each month. We can look it over if we have any questions. We keep it on file. But we found that this saves us more money than taking a firm bid.
Okay. Other questions?
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the third-year renewal agreement with Highland Dairy to provide milk and dairy products to all sites for the 2016-17 school year. Approximate cost will be $625,000 to be paid with the child nutrition funds. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Perfect.
I bring to you our small equipment bid. We prefer Curtis Restaurant. They were the lowest bidder, and it would be in the amount of $21,272.87.
Okay, if there are no questions, I would entertain a motion.
Recommend approval.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the bids from Curtis Restaurant Supply for small equipment for all sites in the amount of $21,272.87 to be paid from the Child Nutrition Funds. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. Next item, under Technology Services, Mr. Brian Daly.
Good evening. I'm here to give you a quick report on our new student management system that's been implemented. I'm not going to go into all the granular details because we did that at our board retreat and when the board approved the product last year. So I just want to kind of give you a where we are at this time with the product. As everybody knows, we had to make the change to our new student management system as our other system, Chancery, Power School SMS, end-of-lifed, which means it was no longer going to be supported. We were on that platform for at least the last 15 years. So with our development and growth as a district and our needs of customization and the direction we want to go regarding data and new trends in enrollment and student data, we needed to find a system that would adapt and scale with our district as we grow. So we chose SunGard's eSchool Plus, as everybody knows. We have completed the transition. We came live with the platform a couple of weeks ago after a 1-year implementation where we ran our previous system and our new system side by side with each other for the entire length of last school year. As we transferred data and verified data, our student management folks went through intense training all year long. We had trainers on site from SunGard. Our student management system folks visited other similarly sized large districts in Texas that also use eSchool Plus to get some ideas. So it's been a year-long transition to get to this point. We officially took our old system offline in July, so it's no longer. And like I said, we're completely on our new eSchool Plus system as we speak. It is a work in progress, and it's going to be throughout the school year. Anytime you go to a system that robust and that large, there's going to be a lot of tweaks that have to be made throughout the course of the year. It's kind of like remodeling your house. You know it's going to be great at the end, but sometimes it's worse before it gets better. And when you uncover all the bad habits and a lot of the data points that have been entered over the last 15 years that may or may not have been done correctly, they'll start to rear their heads once you move into a new system. So we're discovering some of that, and we expected some of that. So like I said, over the course of this school year, that's where a lot of that cleanup is going to take place. And that happens with any system of this nature as you go into it. We've done some things to kind of help us out in the interim with our new online student information form that we've been promoting to our patrons to have filled out prior to scheduled pickup. What this allows us to do is get parents to feed us clean data into our system rather than waiting for them to show up at our school sites and fill out the older age 14 form that we used to fill out. And we all know we're understaffed in a lot of areas, and time is of the essence during the school year. And you know, those age 14 forms sometimes really didn't get entered until maybe late in the spring of that school year. And so that data doesn't help us if it's not in the system. So what we've done is we've put a system in place in the interim to allow parents to feed us that information in the form of the online student information form. And so far, we've had 15,000 completions, just under 80%. And what that means is that's a ton of data that our data folks and our site staff, our attendance clerks, principal secretaries don't have to worry about entering through the course of the year, because we went out to the public and said, here's the form, here's an easy way of doing it, give us your information, and we import it into the system. What we want to do, since this has been so successful, is try to get to 90% hopefully before school starts. So a lot of our parents are have been receiving schoolcast messages ongoing the last several weeks. Dr. Mendenhall mentioned today that him and his wife got on and did the form for their daughter, and he remarked about how convenient it was, and it was pretty intuitive, and Dr. Mendenhall got through it quite easily. So.
And if you know my technology skills, it's got to be really kind of moved down a level or two.
So that's going to really help us get some of that data into our system. We're letting our public help us help them, because what that means is now Ms. Holland Handy's area can get effective communication out to our parents through email and text messaging. We know that when we send out mailers to parents, they're getting to the right areas and locations. So all that is going to be a benefit to us this year. So we'll continue that process, and then next spring, SunGuard will rebuild a new online enrollment system. And this will take the place of the SIF form that we've put out this year. So it'll actually be part of the system and not a separate component. This will allow parents to do their re-enrollment verification from home via their computer or even their cell phone. They can attach their residency verification, meaning their utility bills, their proof of residency, and then we just do the back-end verification, and the students are re-enrolled. At this time, as you all know, we send documents to our school sites, send the kids home with forms, say return a utility bill, come back and return the courses that you want to take next year. The site has to collect those, and then the front office staff has to get all that information entered. Then they have to track down the 20% of students that may or may not bring back a utility bill. A lot of manual process. What this will allow us to do is again, with the ease and efficiencies of online enrollment through SunGuard, parents can do that at home. And then coming this spring, students will be able to select their course requests online instead of a paper method, which allows counselors to get the course requests much quicker in the season, which allows us to get schedules developed much quicker ongoing. So building in efficiencies. You know, the main thing is to keep the main thing with data, and that is to keep it clean. Okay, that's our ultimate goal. We all know garbage in, garbage out. We got to keep that thought process, and we have to break old habits and create new habits. And anytime we have change like this with a system this robust, with people used to doing things the same way from years and years, there's going to be a little heartache in the beginning, but it is for the good of the district, And that brings us to all the ongoing professional development that we have been doing, that we will be doing. We've tried to make it convenient for teachers. Instead of pulling them all back out of their classrooms once school starts to do some of the e-school training, for the first time we utilized our Canvas system, which our students use for their one-to-one initiative, to create SunGuard eSchool Plus training in Canvas available online. Our principals have communicated to their teachers, and over the course of the summer, teachers were able to go online at their convenience and do the 2-hour tutorial professional development, answer the test questions, and submit it. And what this means is when they come back to class, or back to the school year, we won't have to pull them out of class to do the mandatory training. It allows them to have more time in the classroom. So far we've had, this is the first time we've done this, we've had well over half of our teachers complete this training at home. Every day I'm getting more and more responses from the system showing teachers, even still today, getting in and completing that. If they don't, on the 17th, they'll come out with our fills and they'll do that training. We also have had the last 2 weeks of very intense training with secondary and then elementary starting this week on the basics to get school started with the new system, so that come the 18th we can get rolling with it. So we've had a pretty comprehensive training schedule, tried to build the efficiencies in for teachers and accommodate them because of the numbers, and we'll continue to have that training throughout the course of the school year. So as we move on through the course of the school year, we'll also introduce the administrator's app for cell phones and iPads, and the parent app, which is going to help data get to our administrators' fingertips much more quickly than before, without having to be in front of a machine in their office. It also allows us to share more information with our parents than ever before through the parent app. So excited about those changes. We'll be excited about the new online enrollment system. We're excited about this new system. Now that this long school year of last year developing the system is behind us, but there's still a lot left to do ongoing. So I welcome any questions you might have.
Eventually, we're just going to have greater efficiency. That's just going to be better for everybody. So appreciate all the work that you're doing and other staff members as well. Any other comments or questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next item under business services, Miss Natalie Ena.
Good evening. We have turned the calendar page over to our new fiscal year, 16-17. There's not a whole lot of activity that goes on in July. We're just getting started in the new year. We don't receive any of our state aid allocation in July. That starts in August. We have received our preliminary allocation of $46.8 million. Now, take this with a grain of salt, as it is our initial allocation. We will really be watching what comes out in January for our midterm allocation, as there's still a lot up in the air as far as revenue collections with the state and whether the factors are going to change, and so there's just a lot of unknowns still. Our ad valorem so far collection to date is just in back taxes. State sources, remember, we will not be receiving any funding for professional development, ACE, or textbook funds this year, so this revenue source will see a decrease in 16-17. Federal sources, we did not spend as much in our federal collections in 15-16, so these resources will be carried over to our allocations in 16-17, so we will just have a larger carryover balance in this source. Building fund, pretty much the main thing is our ad valorem back taxes, not much else in that fund. Child nutrition, we did receive a large payment for our summer food program, which was highly successful, so we have collected that in July. General fund, as far as expenditures go, we've been very conservative in our hiring process over the summer. resulting in a decrease in some of our salary and benefit costs. If the board approves the new salary schedule effective for 16-17, that will be retroactive back to July, so that will kind of catch us up a little bit with where we were at this point last year. Our workers' comp expense, we are being a little bit more conservative in how we are transferring funds from general fund and child nutrition into our self-funded 83 fund for reporting purposes, and I'm trying to watch that a little bit more carefully. Building fund, we did shift some of our employees' salaries over to building fund where we saw applicable. We did end with a larger ending fund balance at 15-16, so we do have a little bit more freedom in this fund, and so we were trying to utilize those funds as efficiently as possible. And child nutrition, we did have some added expenses in child nutrition with the summer feeding program, some of the events that we hosted in the summer that child nutrition was present at, Engage, Oklahoma. So we did see a little bit of spike in salary for child nutrition. But as I mentioned before, they're very self-sufficient, so that's really no burden from general fund. And we're still projecting our ending fund balance for 15-16 at right around $13 million, and as our financials are completed, we will have a more accurate figure.
Okay. This is an information item. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next item is Ms. Donna Dollahan.
Good evening. I'm here to give the treasurer's reports as of the end of July. Our cash balances reports shows a total of $50,987,000 in assets for the district. Included in this figure are district investments that total $39,190,000. Our fund security and deposit report shows a total of $55,040,000 in collateral pledged to the district. Our deposits that require collateral total $31,492,000, leaving us an available balance of collateral in the amount of $23,548,000.
Okay. Are there any questions?
Going on to the activity funds, receipts at the end of July for this fiscal year total $375,000. Disbursements total $200,000, leaving a balance in the activity funds of $2,505,000.
Okay. Questions?
Thank you.
Next item, Ms. Kathy Metavallis.
Good evening. I bring to you tonight the encumbrance reports for all funds. These run from July 7th to August 4th, and the total encumbrance orders are $904,448.29.
Are there any questions?
Recommend approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the encumbrance reports for all funds for the 2016-17 fiscal year. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, Mr. Fager.
Good evening. Tonight I'm bringing policy 5230, payment of accumulated sick leave and vacation at retirement, to you for a revision. If you recall, in May we approved a revision where we added a clause that allowed for an administrator to receive this payout of sick leave at retirement if they had 20 years of cumulative service. Previously, the policy allowed for only 10 years of consecutive service immediately prior to retirement, and that had created some problems for us. So at the time, if you recall, I mentioned that once we had an opportunity to visit with the Teachers Association during negotiations, if they agreed to it, that we would bring this back and add it to both the certified staff and our support staff as well. So tonight is the first reading for this policy. We anticipate bringing it back at the next meeting for a vote, and are presuming at this point that the agreement will be ratified and it will all take place before we actually approve this policy then.
Okay. Are there any questions? Since this is an information item, then we just would see this back at the next meeting.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item, Mr. Dwayne Thompson.
Well, the last item is for the proposed salary scales for administrative staff, 12-month non-administrative staff, and support staff. Just to reiterate to the board, what we generally do is we have, over the summer, we have the negotiations with the Teachers Association. Once that is complete, then we come back with a comparable change to the salary schedule for the other categories that the board would approve. And then, as Mr. Fager mentioned, we would have the final vote by the board after ratification from the teachers. So we did have a successful negotiations, and so we have reached an agreement, or tentative agreement. So we're ready to move forward with the other salary schedules. Basically, the increases are 1.5% in that ballpark. Some are more, some are less, but the average of 1.5%. I do want to point out to the board that this does not include the superintendent, so every other employee category is covered in this. So two things of that: the administrative staff is a total increase of $149,515, and you have this in your packet. The 12-month non-administrative is $74,537. The support staff is $262,953. We have had a reduction in our administrative staff, and you saw part of that with Natalie's report as to why the salary line item is down. So we are down in a number of positions. So we have 169 administrative in 12 months as opposed to 180 last year. And so even after this, what we're requesting of the board, we've had a decrease of almost $600,000 of administrative cost.
Okay.
So I'd answer any questions that you have.
No,
And
Mr. Thompson, I thank you for that information. I just would entertain any questions that the board would have.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the proposed salary scales and resulting increases for administrative staff, 12-month non-administrative staff, and support staff for the 2016-17 fiscal year. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes. The next item is new business. Seeing that we do not have any new business, we'll move to the executive session.
Make a motion, move to executive session.
Second?
We have a motion and second to move into executive session pursuant to Oklahoma Statute 25, Section 307B1 and 7 of the Oklahoma Open Meeting Act to discuss the performance evaluation and contract of the superintendent. Please call the roll.
Mr. Majors?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you. You guys have a good evening.